The story of Salman the Persian, a journey in search of truth. The beginning, the search for true faith. Deep in ancient Persia, where the world was a mixture of beliefs and traditions, Salman the Persian, whose real name is Ruzba, was born into a well-off family. His father was a well-known priest who served in the fire temples that were the heart of the Zoroastrian religion. Their large home was filled with daily rituals, where sacred fires were lit in solemn ceremonies. Salman, from a young age, was an intelligent child who asked questions that might seem strange to his family members. He would contemplate the fire burning in front of him and wonder, how can we worship something that can be extinguished? Despite his father's attempts to teach him the basics of divination, Salman's heart always yearned for something deeper. One day, while on a mission to tend to his family's property, he heard the sound of hymns coming from a nearby Christian church. Curiosity prompted him to go inside. Inside the church, he found men and women praying humbly, and he heard their verses that were filled with tranquility. Salman was deeply moved and said to himself, "This religion seems more honest than our religion." Conflict with the family. Salman returned home, his eyes full of hope, and told his father what he had seen. His father was shocked and declared his categorical rejection of these ideas. He tried in every way to bring him back to sense, even to the point of locking him up inside the house. But Salman, with his spirit yearning for freedom, managed to escape on a dark night. Journey to the Levant. Salman set out for the Levant, where Christianity was flourishing. He crossed deserts and wastelands, endured hunger and thirst, in search of the truth. There he met a wise ascetic priest. This priest was different from the others. He was not looking for money or power, but rather he spread love and faith. Salman lived with him and learned a lot from him. But life is not always fair. Salman witnessed the corruption of some other clerics who exploited people's money. When the priest was nearing death, he advised Salman to go to the city of Mosul, where there was a righteous cleric. So Salman continued his journey, moving between cities, searching for teachers who followed pure Christianity. The prophecy of the coming prophet. In one of his sessions with a wise sheikh in Amorium, the sheikh told him a great prophecy. The era of pure Christianity has ended. Soon a prophet will rise in the land of the Arabs, carrying the message of monotheism. Search for him, and you will find the truth you are looking for. These words ignited a new fire in Salman's heart. He decided to head towards the Arabian Peninsula, leaving behind the life of comfort he had become accustomed to. Temporary slavery. Despite his enthusiasm, the journey was not easy. Salman was betrayed by a trade caravan, where they sold him as a slave to one of the Jews in Medina. The work was hard, but he endured everything, believing that this was just a step towards the truth. When the Prophet Muhammad, may God bless him and grant him peace, arrived in Medina as an immigrant, Salman felt that the time had come. He began to watch the Prophet closely. He wanted to make sure of the 3 signs he had learned. The Prophet does not eat from charity. He eats from gifts. On his shoulder was the seal of prophecy. Meeting the Prophet. Salman offered dates to the Prophet. Salman said, "This is charity." Notice that the Prophet did not eat from them, but distributed them among his companions. The next day, he offered another date and said, "This is a gift." The Prophet ate from them. The next day, when Salman saw the seal of prophecy on the Prophet, Salman could not control himself, cried, and declared his conversion to Islam. Meeting the Prophet. Salman offered dates to the Prophet. Salman said, "This is charity." Notice that the Prophet did not eat from them, but distributed them among his companions. The next day, he offered another date and said, "This is a gift." The Prophet ate from them. The next day, when Salman saw the seal of prophecy on the Prophet, Salman could not control himself, cried, and declared his conversion to Islam. Freedom and contribution to Islam. When the Prophet Salman learned of Salman's story, he was deeply moved. He ordered his companions to help Salman free himself. Salman worked hard, even planting the palm trees that his master had asked for as ransom for his freedom. After he gained his freedom, Salman became a pillar of Islam. During the Battle of the Trench, Salman suggested the idea of digging a trench around Medina, a strategy that was unknown to the Arabs, and saved the Muslims from an attack by the Quraysh. The legacy of Salman the Persian. Salman lived a life full of faith and giving. His story is a lesson for all who seek the truth. We learned that faith is not confined to a place or time, but rather a journey worthy of sacrifice.